Hello, today I'm going to show you the brand new slider from Edelkrone. It's their SliderPlus. It's a 1 foot slider that actually slides 2 feet. I'm going to show you how that's done here in a second. I'm just going to go over the slider itself, kind of show you some different things about it. It's going to connect through your standard 3/8 threaded connection. So that big thread that's on the top of your tripod or the bottom of your head itself. I'm using a ball head, but you can utilize a fluid head or a 3-way head, whatever really works for you. Now you'll see that this thing is really solid. It's got CNC'd anodized aluminum for all the black parts on here. All the silver parts are made of steel, and you've got 22 steel bearings on there that make everything glide along really smoothly. The only thing that's not metal is this geared belt. And that geared belt actually serves a few different purposes. The first purpose is to connect the camera platform to the tripod platform. And by connecting those through that series of belts, it actually can create this double action slide. So that's how you get a 2-foot slide out of a 1-foot slider. So both carriages are moving independently and opposite of one another to achieve a longer slide. And that's all because of that belt. Now the belt also serves as the way to lock the position of the camera carriage. And so you can actually lock that in place and pick that up, and this is not going anywhere. This is actually nice and solid. It's going to keep it in place so when you're transporting it or moving it around, your camera's not going to be sliding all over the place. So I'm really glad that that's on there. The last reason that this belt's on there with the gears is that down the line they're going to be coming out with a motor for it. And from the pictures, it looks like the motor's going to be attached to this end, and that's where it's going to link up to the end of this this geared belt. So with that motor, you're able to do motorized slides, maybe even time lapse. I haven't actually seen the unit, so we'll kind of have to wait and see what that motor is going to be capable of, but I'm probably going to be ordering one as soon as they come out. So the weight of this thing is kind of heavy, but not too heavy. We're looking at about 4 pounds on my scale, and that's stripped down with no tripod, no head, just the unit itself. So it's a little bit more than what they advertise on their website, but I kind of expected it to be kind of a hefty little device, because in order for it to do what it does, which is like slide and move all the weight from one end to the other like this, it really has to be well built, solid, and they really done a great job with this. There isn't any flex in this. I was really worried about that, is when you have all that weight off to one side like this and moving it to the other side, I was worrying about it flexing a little bit. And I've seen that in some of the cheaper sliders where they're moving from one side to the other and you can actually see the horizon. It's almost like you're on a boat. But they've done a really great job about this. And when it's all the way out like this, you know, this is really solid. I mean, I'm surprised for as many moving parts and bearings and stuff that it has. They did an excellent job of keeping this thing rock solid. So wonderful design with this. Now the length of this is about 15.5 inches. So you'll find that this is going to fit in most standard camera bags without a problem. On the ground, if you're using this without a tripod, you're going to find these little adjustment feet. And these adjustment feet allow you to level the slider out. But if you're using those feet, you're only going to be getting about 0.85 feet worth of travel. So that's less than a foot worth of travel if you're using these feet. This slider was really intended to be used on a tripod. To take full advantage of its full slide, you're going to want to attach it to a tripod. Now, a lot of tripods, if you want to go low, this tripod here, if I take the center column out, I can actually get it like within inches of the ground. So I can use this really low if I wanted to, as well as normal height. So that's really not an issue for me. I'll probably never use those little feet myself. Now, the other really cool thing about this design is that the ability to utilize wide-angle lenses and push in and out of your subject. So with this setup, I've got a 17mm lens, a 17-40, and then I've also got a full frame camera. So with most sliders, you'll find that when you are pushing in and out of a subject, you're actually going to be going to get the rail itself in the way. So if we were using an actual 2-foot slider, it would end right about here. So as I would pull back, the end of that slider would actually show up in the shot. It's not something you want, but because of this design, the rails actually move in the same direction of the camera. So if the camera is pulling back, so are the rails. So it keeps them clear for even wide shots. Now I've got this set for 17. It may even go a little wider, but for my purposes, this is great. Lastly, I'm going to talk about noise, because when someone's looking at a slider, and that's the number one thing I hear is like, how much noise does it make? Because in quiet situations like interviews and stuff like that, you don't want to be hearing the noise of the slider working. So I'm going to move this around a little bit and see how much we can actually hear. Now I've noticed the faster I move it, the more audible the noise is, but realistically I'm never going to move it that fast. So I'm going to try to move it in a manner in which would be normal to the situation. It's really, really quiet. I didn't personally hear much of anything, so we're going to see if the audio picked it up or not, but that mic is actually pointing directly at me with this. Most situations, this slider is going to be pointed at the subject as well as the mic pointed at the subject, so the fact that that mic is almost pointing at this slider is probably worst case scenario. So we'll see if it actually picked up during that that regular slide. So it's probably picking up this, but it probably won't pick up this. Thanks for taking a look at the new Edelkrone SliderPlus. I'm really, really excited to use it. I've got a shoot coming up, so I'm going to put it through its paces and see what it can do for me. But I already know that this is a winner in my book, so I totally recommend this.